I'm George. I'm going to be having a friendly old chat with Dan. Dan, it's been. I was just saying, like, it's been a minute. Like, we haven't seen each other in a while, but we used to do lots of kind of like hangs and lots of kind of events and type stuff like that. Going to like nicer Tuesdays. But yeah, like how have you been? How's it been
Yeah,
going?
been good. And it has been a minute, hasn't it? Oh God, lost it. No, yeah, I'm good. It has been a minute. Um,
So, because it's been Jenny was trying to think about this. Like, when did you actually graduate? Like, actually, what year was it? Because all the years blur into one. But what was the year you?
yeah, I think the year was 2019. So yeah, it's
Man, that's
been
a
it's
long
been a
time
while,
ago.
but it's been a good time since.
Yeah, God, 2019 was a long time. Do you know, it's really odd because I honestly can, before you even joined the course, I can remember, I can remember you coming to an info session. I can remember like which is so mad that I don't usually remember everybody comes to every event, but I remember you coming to an info session, hearing about Shillington, and I remember you asking questions about the course, and I don't know why I remember you, but like it just stuck in my head. You had a leather jacket, I think. Maybe you had long hair. Did you have like long hair down to the ears or something like that? Is that what you?
Yeah, it was in the leather jacket, long hair days
There you go. There
when I
you
was
go.
still figuring it all out.
Hey, like all of us. But yeah, so and I'm trying to remember as well, like because you were definitely not doing anything based around design at all. Like you can like came to the course. What were you doing before the course again? What was it?
So I was working in sort of advertising and account management. So post uni, I didn't really know what to do. I studied biology, so didn't really want to go into that in the end. So wanted to do something creative and sort of saw a way into a more creative job, sort of in advertising. So went in at ground level as an account exec, and yeah, it was just sort of managing projects and managing clients. And it was good, especially you get nice clients and nice projects. But yeah, after a while working with sort of the designers and other people in the team, we'd break after sort of having a briefing, and I'd think like, I want to do that instead of go back to my desk and start emailing. So
Yeah.
then Shillington popped up.
Yeah, and then yeah, just like again, I think we were really lucky with the fact that with your class particular, I think like it was a really great class. I think everyone's like really bonded really well, and like I think you all just really wanted to just do well, like just take on the course and just take on feedback. I think it was just a class that just really gelled together. I think really kind of nicely.
Yeah,
And like you're all up for just really kind of like trying to make the most of that kind of course. I think that's how I felt in terms of my side.
yeah, exactly. It was for me going back into education, to do something like you truly wanted to do, and for everyone else to sort of be in the same boat is such a good and rewarding experience. Because at uni, I think like Mm, not most people. A lot of people, you're sort of there for the good times and the experience, and sometimes the learning comes sort of like on the back seat.
Yeah.
But at Shillington, everyone's like there for the design, and then everything else is sort of a bonus and the result of it. So like making new friends there and sort of getting to spend time with them and sort of grow together was yeah a very sort of rewarding experience. So
Mm,
great environment to do
yeah.
it.
And then like, it's like, so after the course, like you could have, like, I can't remember exactly how long it was, but like you're working, where are you working at the moment?
So at the moment, I'm working at a design studio in London, so Studio Certain. So been there for a few years now. Sort of second design job in the industry, and yeah, this is a great place. Like very like-minded people, very fun, very silly, but everyone's it's similar to Shillington. Everyone's like very committed to doing good work. So it's
Mm,
kind of it's sort of the place I envisioned before even going to Shillington, like sort of one of these studios that is fun to work at, but also you're doing like great work together.
And but like, you're not the only, is there still other Shillington?
Yes, yeah, there's another designer who did Shillington a few years before me. And then also one of the creative directors did some teaching at Shillington. So there is sort of a mini Shillington family in there. And I think when I went to interview, they saw that and sort of recognized, they sort of knew what it meant to have gone through Shillington. It's someone that sort of really wants it. So
Mm.
you could see that, which is cool.
That's nice. And then, the main reasons why we're doing these kind of chats is like just to really talk about like, the process of a project or getting through the journey of a project and going from like point A to point B and talking to that because I think the kind of the journey is more interesting sometimes than the destination kind of sometimes. Like, was there kind of is there a project you wanted to chat about? Wasn't it to kind of go through and talk us through that project?
Yes. So the project I'm gonna talk about was actually my first freelance project after Shillington, and it was very soon after Shillington because the client found my work through the Shillington like graduate website. So we
Yep.
also had like a grad show, and I know that some people found work through that, and that was a really good time. But there's also like a website which shows everyone's work. So the founder of this project wanted sort of like a graduate designer who was very keen and was like willing to like really go for it because they had such a small budget because they were just like starting out. So that was for Bulb and Co. And founder was Amelia. So yeah, she just got in touch and said, "I've got this idea. Like, it's she sells butter beans and legumes and stuff. They've really expanded the range now. But yeah, so it's like I've got these great quality beans. I just need to get them to market, and they need to stand out. So that was sort of the main priority. Like, how do we really stand out in this space and sort of like draw attention, being like a new challenger brand?
Mm.
So yeah, it's sort of like an ideal project to start off with.
Did you say they were on Dragon's Den? Did you say that?
Yeah, yeah. So not long ago, maybe last year, I saw it sort of popped up on like on YouTube that they're on Dragon's Den. So I watched the clip, and there were the jars, the labels that I designed, pitching for like a new investment, and I think Deborah Meaden invested. So
Nice.
really, really cool to see the work go that far, and like to see the success and to have had a hand in sort of making them, especially as like a first project, sort of
Yeah.
just fell into it. It was like quite lucky, but at the time put a lot of work into it. So it's great to
Yeah.
see the sort of the success.
Yeah, I mean, it's ready. It's ready. I get my work. I guess to work actually on TV, which is pretty cool. But yeah, as I said, like Jenny is like a really kind of great story. Like to go from finishing the course, like getting a kind of getting a job like that, like kind of quite soon after, and then kind of working on it. But yeah, like kind of, do you have any, do you want to kind of share anything to kind of go through, share your screen, or go through any kind of the process, or kind of how you
Yeah,
got
so I'll
through that?
share some of like the early stuff because though it was a good project, it was my first one, and it's sort of Amelia's first time fully going through the creative process sort of with the designer on her own sort of project.
Mm,
So we were both very much learning. So it was fun and creative, but maybe sort of a bit wide and mismatched at some points. And we were both like learning alongside each other. So it started off with, let me share my screen. It started off with a few sort of mood boards of like different creative routes. Um, so I sort of looked into sort of a minimalistic route, an illustrative route, and then a patterned route. And ultimately, Amelia went with the illustrative route. So that was all good going. And then this is where it starts to get maybe the first error or learning curve. I went in quite heavy and did lots of different designs, maybe sort of too many, maybe not focused enough. And maybe it caused a bit of confusion. And, when you have too many options, it's hard to
mm,
pick. So sort of like maybe it wasn't aid the project the best. But yeah, lots to choose from. Obviously, very into it. And I think this is the first label. So this is, if you see Bobinco today, you'll sort of recognize that this is like the pattern that was sort of used for that first product launch. And then from that, sort of developing it, trying different colors, and then going quite crazy with the colors. And all the time, Amelia was testing and printing them out and sticking them on the jars. And that led us to, this was the final label for the cream butter beans. This magenta bit in the middle was like a see-through bit which sort of wraps around. And then this was sort of the end result, how the
Nice.
beans launched and sort of how they were sort of presented as they sort of grew and became available in more and more shops. So there we go.
Awesome. Yeah, like great seeing all that process. Like that's the other thing. I think most people don't realize how much work goes into like, you know, like when you look at this, like obviously I consider design, but like it might seem kind of like, oh, it's quite simple and there's a nice logo and there's some nice patterns, but um the different iterations you went through and through that process, as you said, with her as well. It wasn't just a case of like you saying like this is the design. Um but like I think it's, kind of interesting what you said there about kind of your first kind of like learnings are kind of like from that kind of brief, like showing too many options. So that's something you kind of felt like showing too much is too much. Is that kind of what the learning curve from that was, or
Yeah, I think showing too much is sort of a sign that you're unsure which option or which options answer the brief. So instead of confidently presenting, say, 3 options, which you are fully confident in, you present all 10, 15 that you did just in case. Because you also don't want that sort of work to go to waste because you spend the time it's a bigger process than you sort of see on the surface. So yeah, it's something I've learned. But yeah, so these days sort of it's a bit more sort of guided and sort of pick which ones to show, which ones answer the brief. Yeah,
yeah. I think like what's get from what I can remember like great about you in on the course is that you just always did like lots of options, like loads of iterations, loads of kind of which is what again, like you said, like, which is why you want to see that kind of iteration stage, like just trying things out, because like as you said, for you, you're just trying to see what can work and what can you can where can you explore type thing. So I said that's kind of this stage where you really want to like dive in and try things out. I think like, every time I would work with you in certain projects, you'd always just jump in, just like I've tried this and I've tried that. And like that's especially in that stage when as in the studio, if you're working with lots of people, that's what you need to see explored, putting stuff up on the wall and going through that kind of thing. I suppose, like you said, when it comes to a client, they don't necessarily have to see all that stuff. They want to see that kind of like your kind of like focus, I suppose, type thing. Um,
yeah,
but
and
like that was, yeah, go on.
it's definitely still part of the process. Like I almost think you need to do all this work and all these options just to see what doesn't work. So then out of that, you'll have like a few bits that are really working, and then you can selectively sort of trim those down and think which ones are actually answering the brief.
Yeah,
Um, and then yeah, it helps with sort of decision fatigue and trying to pick between this and that and slowing up the process. So yeah.
yeah. How do you find like how do you get past like the decision fatigue? Like, I've kind of got maybe things I do, but like I'm curious to know like how you kind of how do you make decisions? Like how do you like generally like make when you're working on your stuff going like there's something in this, there's something on that. If you don't have, like if you're not you want to get a stage where you're showing the client like you don't want to show them too much, but like yeah, how do you make your decisions with because you did would do tons of iterations. Like how are you making calls in terms of what's working or what's not working for you?
Yeah,
What's your process?
I think when you end up doing so many different options and iterations, you can get a bit like lost in your head and maybe a bit visually blind to like the which to choose. And an easy way to overcome that is to literally ask someone. So working in a studio, ask my team member next to me, and they'll give you to them who are looking at it with fresh eyes. It's like so much clearer. So they'll just give you a quick answer, or you might have like a bit of back and forth, and then that'll help you make your decision. When I'm by myself, or if I'm not able to check with someone, I would usually step away for a moment, come back with fresh eyes myself, and if I have lots of similar options, as long as it gets a sort of ultimate point across, or like the message or the vibe that you want to get across, then you can just pick your favorite and then move on. Because depending on which stage you're at, those ideas might be sort of put to the side, and you move forward with another one. So it's you don't have to sort of stress yourself out at every step.
Mm. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the challenge of every time I'm designing. Like I'm always asking those questions and doubting myself and kind of going through those
Yeah,
iterations. Like
still all
there's
there.
definitely yeah. So and also like the fact is like no matter where you're working or what you're doing, like just having fresh eyes on it is like super important because you said you get that kind of tunnel vision type thing. Um,
Yeah, and it
so like
depends.
super.
Sorry, it depends on the day as well. Sometimes on your mood, sometimes you make things and you think everything's rubbish. So you go for a walk, you come back the next day, you see it with new eyes, and sort of makes it easier to
Mm,
pick.
yeah, like it's kind of a cheesy question because it's kind of setting you up to be like, what was great about Shillington that you're now designing the way you're designing? But like
It's you,
you
George.
know, no, but like, is it like for you in terms of because obviously I came from a very specific design learning. Like I did a kind of degree, it's very conceptual type thing. But like for you, like what do you think was like what do you personally take away from your experience of Shillington, like working the course that you feel set you up for like being the designer you are now? If there is any like that you feel like, what do you think is the biggest thing you learned from it, or that you take on from your projects that you work on? If there is any, maybe there isn't, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, is there anything that you feel like would be if somebody said to you like, oh, so like, you know, from Shinto, like, what's the thing that you use kind of most days, or the thing that you kind of like you kept with you that you kind of as you're designing? Is there anything particular, or is there?
Um, there's sort of a few things that Shillington was like really good for and sort of prepared me for sort of getting a job and sort of working in a studio. Like a class class sort of beside you, like other people doing the same thing where you can bounce ideas from each other. That's very similar to sort of like the studio environment. You're not usually working alone, so it is always a collaborative process. Whether you're working together on it directly or you're working by yourself and you can talk to the people next to you. So that's very similar to being in the studio. And then the overall sort of process breaking down like a project from the initial briefing and then researching, mood boarding, the first sort of creative sprint where you sort of get all your ideas down on the page and start cutting them down and refining from there. That's very similar. Um, and then finally, the last one's gone. So I'll say you.
No, that makes sense. I think a lot of people are surprised when they hear exactly what you're saying, like when it's actually just you saying about bouncing off other people and other ideas and people, your peers, and like talking about your projects, and that is like so valuable, like to most design, that I think it's not just all the kind of solo pursuit. It's that thing of like actually like because it is a collaborative industry. That's what you're doing. Like you're collaborating with either the client or like the studio or with like multiple people, and that is kind of a key thing. But no, it's like honestly like it's super cool just seeing that like that project when you how quickly you got that project and it being into a real job. Like I feel like it took me fucking ages to get like a real job. Like is it like what I mean like a real job like eventually got picked up and kind of then it was used in the real world. Like it took me
Yeah.
ages. So it must have been like a massive like booster. Like I would have been on cloud nine if that happened to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was a great feeling, especially so close post Shillington. Um, and then because of it being like a product, seeing it in stores, it's in most stores now. You like keep seeing your logo out in the wild. It's sort of like a dream come true from like the dream I had from before I started Shillington. So it did feel like a nice sort of full circle moment. And it's still around today. I still see it.
Yeah.
still have it in my portfolio. I still sort of present it to new clients. So it's like standing like its grounds and like test of time because I've done other projects since where it's good in the moment, but then a few years on you look at it and you go like, oh, that's quite early work that. Yeah, so this one it's nice that it's still sort of relevant and present in my
Mm,
work.
yeah, nice. And then it could like last thing, which I still don't know how you did. How did you manage to do Generally, how did you manage to do portfolio time and go to Glastonbury at the same time? That literally just blows my fucking mind. I don't know
Yeah,
how you did that. That's crazy. Like I honestly, Dan, I tell that story all the time to students, like all the time. Because
it's a
like every time we're
warning.
talking about, I know, I kind of a warning and also like a testament to like how much work you did. Because they always say like, I talk about kind of putting the work in, because like, especially when you're part time, because it's over like 6 weeks type thing. So it's like it's
Yeah.
full time is a bit kind of like shorter, but it's like every day. But obviously part time, as you know, is like kind of over couple 5 or 6 weeks. But like I honestly like mention it all the time. I'm like but telling students obviously they're doing what they're doing within those weeks that they're not in Shillington. But I said like because of time and using it, I was like I always like with one student who went to Glastonbury during that time. Like you're not the only person, by the way, who's gone to like who has done that, who's been at a festival during portfolio time. But
Yeah.
honestly, man, the difference is like your portfolio was amazing. Like the amount of
Pulled it
work
off.
you put in, the amount of work that you put in, like how big it was, the rollout ideas you had, and like and I know when we show that work to other teachers, like really impressive work. And that thing when then you tell them like, oh, and also he was away at Glastonbury for that, like that's crazy. Like so I genuinely don't know how you did it. I'm just
Yeah.
like, did you just not sleep or something? Did you just not sleep
Oh
for
God.
after?
Well, I remember coming back and then I found I'd actually lost some work I did before I left. So that was very stressful.
Wow.
And I was a bit of a broken man. But to be honest, I think it was the camaraderie of sort of the group of friends that I made there that sort of pushed me through and got me over the edge. Yeah, it was a bit. I made it a bit more stressful for myself than I like, but as you say, managed to pull it off.
Yeah, like I mean, it wasn't a case of like pulling off like you got a portfolio, like you had such a strong portfolio. It's like definitely kind of a testament to yourself. Like I definitely could, if that would destroy me if I went to Glastonbury and came back and did that thing. But yeah, I don't know how you did it, but I'm
Yeah,
sure you're a bit of a shell of a man, but you were definitely there. You were definitely doing the work. So
I was
really really
present.
impressive.
I was
You're
present
present, yeah.
physically. I'm not sure mentally for a bit, but
Yeah,
eventually,
you do. Um, yeah, like again, like thanks for this kind of chat again. Like it's really great to hear your kind of like process, and I feel like a pretty incredible story to going from doing a one-on-one session, like coming to an info session, like asking about like you're studying biology, and then like going from that and going from the course and then doing a real job, and then like where you're at now, like a really really great studio. Like it really is impressive. Like I'm always like obviously I don't shout out all the time to you guys or don't connect with you guys, but generally just like fucking amazed at what you guys have done. Like it's amazing. Like you guys are way more like to me, you're way more confident and way more courageous than I am. I was just like, I can only do design. That's all I can do. But like you're just like, I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna take this big jump to do this course. A world that I'm not really in, and taking that big jump and doing that work, and just you're now designing where you want, where you want to be in that kind of field. Again, it might work on other studios, but like it is really like amazing to see. Like I'm not just saying that. So yeah, like
well, thank you.
super proud of you and obviously everyone else. But like it's just so cool to see you guys keeping
Yeah.
working in the career field. It's really amazing.
Thank you.
Um,
Very,
yeah,
very kind words. I mean, through the process, you were a big inspiration. Your work and just sort of like your story in itself, and just like your guidance was such a big factor. Sort of the friends that I made there, we all sort of bonded around that, and you sort of like guided us through it all. But yeah, it's crazy to look back at the me that before starting Shillington, because I'm exactly where I wanted to be, which is a great feeling. I mean, in your day to day, you do forget it, but then it's like
yeah,
you sort of take a moment. I'm like, wow, like I'm so glad I started that journey to get to where I am today. But then you realize it is, the joy is in the journey. So I'm very happy where I am, but you're always sort of thinking, what's next, and what other creative things do I want to do, sort of even beyond design. So it's an
yeah,
exciting time, and yeah, Shillington made it possible. So
yeah.
would recommend.